show you what it's all about. certain my guest at this time will not forget. I'm talking about the former Intercontinental Champion of the world, Macho Man Randy.
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing means nothing. What do you mean by that?
Talking about all the way to the top, yeah. Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in. But the queen rises to the top, oh yeah.
Brother, sister, where are you now? As I look for you, right through the crowd. All my life here I've spent with my faith in God, the church, and the government. Some say trouble's about. Someday soon they're gonna put the old town down. Come back, people. You've been gone a while, and the war is raging through the empire. The streets are empty. Streets are won't you come home?
That was a horrible transition, but we'll roll with it. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Week 4. Week 4. I can't believe we're already this far into SATAL, but Week 4 of SATAL Diamond League, 104th Phoenix versus the 59th Ravens. I don't know about you guys, but I am very excited. I'm your host, Moltar. I'm joined today by my now naked mole rat co-host.
Yeah, there
Billy
was
Von
mistakes were made at the barbershop this week, so y'all are gonna have to join me on a growth journey to growth. See if we can't get this mustache back out again, because I definitely don't feel the same without it. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, he's I am maintaining the backwards hat, but he is breaking all the memes, and he's the naked mole rat. So before we start talking about naked scrotums and stuff, because that's exactly what his face looks like, let's jump in and do our mission selection and talk about who's flying this week, and let's get this ball rolling. So today, 104th Phoenix versus the 59th Ravens. While I'm doing this, Billy, what do you think's going to go down? We saw 59th fly against UVAF, and who did 104th fly against? They flew against Reservoirs Elite. Both matches were lopsided. 104th taking it to Reservoirs Elite, and UVF taking it to 59th. So while I'm getting things set up, how do you think today's matchup, given both of these teams' histories, is going to play out?
Well, I think, given what we've seen so far, 104th certainly looks to be the team coming into this with the advantage. I'd like to see 59th Ravens step it up from what we've seen out of them so far. I think going up against the team like I believe it was the Ukrainian team that they lost against in their first match, there's not a lot of film on them. You don't really know what their deal is. You've not probably fought them before, so I think you can kind of maybe chalk that up to the fact that new team, new look. However, I do think 104th is going to have a decent advantage coming into this, just based on the way they've been flying lately. So. Yeah. Definitely going to have to see 59th step it up today big time.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. So for anybody that's new, we roll for every mission location right before each match is played, so teams have no idea where they're going to play. 4 mission possibilities on the Persian Gulf, 2 for the Caucasus. We roll a d6 from our good old Dungeons and Dragons dice roller. Let's get this going. So we rolled a 1, so we're going to be flying Bandar versus Abu Dhabi. I feel like we fly this one a lot, but it is nice to fly on the Persian Gulf. I love the way the Persian Gulf looks, and it just, I don't know, maybe it's because I've flown on the Caucasus for so long that I really like it. I'm tired of the Caucasus. Is that how you feel, Billy, or is that just me?
I feel like we do see that a lot, especially, you spend time on the public servers. I'd say the majority are on the Caucasus map. So I don't know. I feel like I'm on there all the time. Right. So, it does get a little repetitive. I know that there's, depending on where you fight there, it can certainly have some different looks and stuff. But for the most part, it does kind of all seem to blur together at the end of the day with the Caucasus.
Sorry, guys, just getting some stuff set up, and you guys can see Billy was a Discord icon. So I'm excited for this match. Are we going to see 59th overthrow the veterans of competitive play, 104th Phoenix, or are we going to see 104th in typical 104th fashion really take it to the smaller guns of the 59th Ravens? I'm not gonna lie. I'd like to see 59th show up just so we can get a good match. I have no idea which way the match is gonna go, but I hope it's a good one. I hope we have some good matchups going for you today. As for what else is going down, so don't forget today we just have the single match. Don't forget that tomorrow we have Gold League, and Gold League tomorrow's matches are going to be Pan Squadron versus the 36 Stormo Verciale. And the second match is going to be 718 LNG versus the Art of Warfare. So make sure that you guys, not just today, but make sure you come back and visit us again tomorrow. And Mongoose, McMoose, I know I am a nerd. I am wholly embrace my nerdhood. When I was in high school, I was like a closet nerd. So I came out of the closet to embrace my nerdiness. And that's just who I am. I was a jock. I played soccer all the way through college, even though soccer may be like the more nerdy, in American standards, nerdy sport. I was a goalkeeper. Shocking since I'm 6'4", 250. But, I guess I didn't realize that I was a nerd, and I kind of put it off and made myself like, I'm not a nerd. I want to be cool, and I want to be normal like everyone else. But no, I'm a huge nerd. And I embrace it, and my wife looks at me and goes, God damn, I married a huge geek. And that's just, unfortunately, she got what she got, and that's, I don't drink. I just sit here and nerd out in my pit, my sanctuary down here. It's nice and cozy. But let's jump into the server. I got
Mongoose with an interesting theory here. He's saying 104th is a larger number than 59th. Therefore, they have the advantage. I think there might be some truth to that. Who knows? Let's see how that plays out.
The math is never wrong. Okay?
The numbers don't lie.
Numbers do not lie. If that's what the math says, then that's what's going to happen. No, that is a terrible theory, Mongoose. You should feel bad. And I feel bad for you. So that's a horrible theory. Horrible.
Is the server up yet?
No, I'm loading it up right now.
Okay,
crap. I forgot to change the password to the server. That's kind of important. That's kind of an important thing.
Yep.
Billy, we talked about who you think's going to win. What do you think? What do you want to see out of today's matchup? What are the things that you want to see
6
happen?
F-14s versus 6 F-14s. Simultaneous Phoenix launches by all parties. And
simultaneous
massive
launches by everybody too.
Yes, exactly. And massive 6-on-6 merge. But in all reality, what I'd like to see out of 59th is them come out, be aggressive, punch 104th in the mouth, get them stumbling back, and push forward and don't let up. I think with a team like 104th that can come out and be very aggressive, you have to fight fire with fire in this case. And I think their best bet is to come out and really put it to them off the bat. Otherwise, I think if you give 104th time to set up, time to start working and get their shit together, it's going to be a long day for 59th.
It kind of goes along the same lines of what I want to see. I want to see more Tomcats.
Yeah, exactly.
I know There is that restriction of 2 AIM-54 Mark 47s. It is there for a reason. The main reason that it's there is because of the desync that is going on right now with, I think it's going on with all the actives, but is abhorrently apparent with the Phoenix. So what will end up happening when you fire a Phoenix at somebody is, even if they notch it, the shooter notices that the missile goes haywire, but the defending bandit or the defending pilot has no idea. And what ends up happening is that that missile flies right through their cockpit, but doesn't kill you for whatever reason. So that in and of itself is that's pretty detrimental, in my opinion, on, with the missile itself and causing some issues for people that are defending, because they think the missile's still coming at them. They're still defending. They're not able to recommit, so on and so forth. So that's why we're limiting it to. We would like to move it for 4, just throwing that out to everybody. We really want to. We want to make the Tomcat more effective. We're just having issues with the current state of what the Phoenix is in. So my sexy TS voice is whispering. Oh, you're talking about when somebody whispered to me, "Wake up. Hey, wake up. Hey, wake up.
Hey, what are you doing?
Hey, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing?" God, that's so annoying. I need to go get a custom sound pack for that. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing?
Do that, please. If there's anything DCS needs, it is a replacement sound.
But
for
you
that.
know what I'm going to replace it with? Bitching Betty.
Oh,
Pull up,
no,
pull up.
Harrier's got that.
Pull up, pull up.
Now it's like you're just constantly hearing her yelling at you, dude. Going to sleep with her yelling at me.
Yeah, that's what I've got a mod that I'm running that actually quiets them down substantially. So we are back on open beta, so we're gonna have significantly better performance. This is amazing. Just looking here at the map, my map isn't taking a massive dump all over itself. We're not over Kasab, and massive poop isn't raining from the sky as my computer craps itself. We're not having those issues. Look how buttery smooth this map action is. You guys can't see it. Look how buttery smooth, as we switch over here to the map. Look how buttery smooth this is. Before it was like, oh my God, DCS is gonna crash. Oh my God, it's dying. But no, we're back on open beta. This is all nice. It's so smooth, so pretty. We're also back on a live match, so we don't have to worry about itty bitty 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 labels. So you guys can actually read who everybody is. You can see what's going on. These are the good things. We're back to the good times. We're back to the good days. These are the bright times. I'm also utilizing my new fabulous keyboard. And if we look at who's loaded into the server so far, which was a little bit delayed, we can see that 104th is loaded in. I'm making sure that you guys can see everything. You indeed can. 104th with their 6 pilots. We're still waiting on the 59th to slot in. 104th has... Who do they have? 2... They're taking 2 F-14s.
Ooh.
I think. That can't be right. You can't use Jester, so I don't... No, he switched to an F-15. No? Interesting. I don't know that they know that. Maybe he's waiting on his Rio. So they're taking what it looks to be 2 F-14s with Mustang, Maverick, and Knight. They may be waiting on somebody else. And then 2 F-15s right now. 1, 2, 3. With Spade and Fallen, and then Stooge is in a J-11. And if we look at the 59th Ravens side, there's Blaze. So he's going to be in an F-14, I assume, with Mustang. If we look at the 59th Ravens side, you have El Rey, Scorpion, and Yukon all in F-15s. You have Sideburns and RJF and J-11s, and then Gemini in the lone F-18s. So we've got a fairly mixed loadout of aircraft. Mongoose, no, not 3 F-14s. You can't tell who the pilot in the Rio is, but Maverick and Knight, I'm pretty sure, or Maverick and Mustang, are in the same F-14. You got a pilot and a Rio, so it doesn't differentiate who that is. We can hear your keyboard really loudly. Just a heads up. So it doesn't differentiate who the pilot in the Rio is. But 2 F-14s. That's fantastic. Lieutenant Ned. I love it. I love it.
That
waiting
is
on
that
these-
is me.
Waiting on these guys to spool up. I got to remember what exactly the key combinations here are on this newfangled keyboard that I've got going in here. I don't exactly remember what all the key combos are. So I'll probably royally screw up here. I'll probably royally screw up some screenshots and some views for you guys coming in here as I get used to this joystick again. Can still hear your keyboard, brother. It is very
Is it
loud.
me?
It is you.
Where is it? How is it coming through? I should be on push to talk.
Did you mute Discord?
Yeah, I just checked.
It's definitely you.
Weird. Maybe it unmuted? I just muted and unmuted it.
Huh.
Weird. Sorry about that, everybody.
No. God. The mustache is
asshole.
just making you more
Yeah.
of a douche.
Nobody has
Sorry.
now. Nobody will tolerate any of my bullshit because I don't have the mustache. So
DKM, there's not a lot of. It's not being streamed from a potato. This is just what ends up happening here in close. Some of the downsampling can cause problems. I can check to see. We can turn on FXAA and SMAA. Maybe that'll help a little bit. But we're not on a potato. It's a 9900K with it in 2080 Ti, and I'm running SMAA and FXAA, so it does. I think it looks good. Maybe the downsampling makes it look a little rough for you guys, but I think it looks great. So just waiting on these guys to taxi, probably waiting on these Tomcats, these turkeys to get ready to move out over here. I'm not sure who's flying with who. Mustang and Maverick, Knight and Fallen are all in F-14s. So no, Fallen's in an F-15. It's Sharkin. Sorry, Sharkin is in an F-14. And make sure, guys, that you're viewing the live TACView stream that Yaga's putting on. It's on DCS World Events 2. It is muy bonito. It is fantastic to watch these two at the same time. I hope one day we can get partner with Twitch so that we can get the squad streams going on. That would be nice. Senex says protato. Yeah, that's probably a good way to look at this. Chris, I am running Reshade. You can see it right here. That is Reshade right there, brother. So it is definitely on. It may have something to do with going from 4K, which is what I'm actually watching the game on, down to 1080p. I don't think it does, but it should actually, I think, look better for you guys.
it's looking pretty good for me.
Yeah, I think the stream looks pretty good. I think it may have been because I wasn't running SMAA or FXAA through Reshade.
I
think
can see that being
That's what the issue was. Let's see if these guys are taking... they're not taking any decoys. I don't think.
wow.
Interesting that one of them is taking a Phoenix on a wing pylon. Wonder if that's intentionally.
Yeah, that is a little odd, but
I don't know if that does anything to the drag.
maybe. I don't know. I'm sure there's some sort of school of thought on that.
Does anybody know? I don't think these guys are taking decoys like InSky did last week.
Doesn't appear like it. They certainly seem loaded up at this point.
Let's see what am I doing? Let's jump there. So I can change views right quick. That is not what I wanted. There it is. Sorry guys, just moving some stuff around. So just waiting for these guys to load in. Let's see what everybody's rocking. So this is 104th Fallen. 6 actives. What does Stooge have? Stooge, the 104th man that always flies the flanker. He, like last time, is taking no ERs. He is all 77s and ETs, which I find interesting. I personally like the ER. I would only take like 177. I wonder why he feels like 4 is the better route. Very, very interesting. We're a little close to this Tomcat. So that's Mustang's Tomcat. They're just getting spooled up. Sharkin's Tomcat. And here is RJF's flanker. Is he taking 2 ERs and 2 77s and ETs? And then 6 actives. Sideburns in a J11. Now he's taking 477s and no ERs. So the dumping the ER seems to be a common theme. Black Shoe Squid says it's more realistic. The coolant for the Phoenix requires you to use the front tunnel stations for it if you carry in the tunnel. Okay, so, and I'm assuming that if you carry it on the front, it increases drag. Stooge, who's actually flying in the match, says he doesn't want to use the ER because he likes to fire and forget, so he doesn't have to maintain that lock.
I noticed the 59th is utilizing camouflage liveries today, as we're 104th opting to go for seemingly the all gray.
104th Spade actually not taking any aim 9s.
That's interesting.
That is interesting. If we jump over here to Scorpion, 6 actives as per normal. Yukon has 3 bags. That's a lot. 6 actives for Blaze, and I think that's it. Oh, we haven't looked at the Gemini in his Hornet yet. Gemini, you have a lot of missiles. 6 actives, 2 aim 7s, and 4 aim 9s. Good lord.
Yeah, he is stacked.
He is stacked to the brim. I wonder what his drag coefficient is with that.
Oh,
I mean, that's
he's gonna need to trim out a little bit with that
Yeah,
aim
but
9
just-
stack on one side, but it shouldn't be too
his
bad.
airspeed's gonna be horrible with those outer pylons with the double racks. I feel like that's greatly increases the drag coefficient for an aircraft, especially for a Hornet. I mean,
It
the Hornet
certainly
is,
takes it down a little bit. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about it.
So we're just waiting on these guys. I'm gonna check to see if they're ready to rock. Go ahead and issue the spool and taxi command, and we will see these guys taxi out to the runway and get this Week 4 diamond match between 104th Phoenix and the 59th Ravens underway. Fault 691, welcome. Glad you enjoyed the YouTube stuff that Jeff and I, Jabbers and I, have been putting up. That's something relatively new, so glad you're enjoying it, and welcome to the live stream. This is where all of us sim aviation nerds, the wannabe pilots, come to make ourselves feel like real pilots. All of us armchair aviators jump in, and just because we want to feel like we matter. We want to feel like we're doing something with our lives instead of sitting at home in our basements with our fake joysticks and our fake throttles, pulling on things left and right, getting our jollies off playing with plastic instead
Pretty
of
much.
sitting in the real thing. This is where we hang out. Every Saturday and Sunday, 1400 and 1700 Zulu. This is where the real nerds are.
That is correct.
Speaking of which, a new place for people to hang out and things to do. Has everybody seen the arena post that went up? I think it was Monday, maybe Tuesday. Has everybody seen that? All that action that went down? If you didn't, it's on the ED forums, Arena 2019. I'd grab a link. Maybe Billy can grab a link.
I got you.
In the tournament section, Arena is a 2v2 competition. I think I may increase it from a 2v2. Keep it 2v2, but allow you to fly or have an alternate, so it would be 3 people per team, to allow people some more, because it is half a year long competition, to allow people some more flexibility. So it's a 2v2 competition, semi-active radar homing missiles only, air starts. It's going to be a much faster set of gameplay than what we see in SATAL. It's going to be more Top Gun-esque, so you enter the bubble, you air start, and then the winning team has to land at the airfield that is at the center of the bubble. That is the idea behind Arena. It is just a little bit different. It is what it is. It is what it sounds. It's an arena. It's all about that fighting. It's all about just getting in there, getting in maybe in closer to the merges, getting in more on the action than what SATAL is more about tactics and team play and squadron play. Arena is going to be more about just the action in general. We're still waiting on 104th. I don't know what we're waiting on. I think they should be aligning. Let's see if they're having any issues. Billy, anything new with you this week? DCS wise, flight sim wise, you've been doing a little bit with X-Plane.
Yeah, aside from having my mustache ripped from me, I've been doing a little bit of X-Plane this week. I picked up that new King Air 350. I've been flying that around.
I have no idea what any of this stuff is.
Yeah, just normal general aviation, boring stuff. Yep. But yeah.
I don't really think it's boring. I think X-Plane and those general aviation flight sims are more complex in different ways than DCS.
It definitely is. It's given me a greater appreciation for the general aviation aspect of DCS. I can definitely say that. You know, the kind of the finer points of just the aviation aspect of it. But it's interesting. I've enjoyed it I looked at X-Plane. You know, I had it and never really got into it, and all of a sudden one day it just kind of happened. And like I said, I really feel like it's improved my DCS play. So,
Chris, I think the aircraft should be pre-aligned. I don't know if something happened recently, but I think it should be stored. I haven't seen the F-14s take this long before that have flown them. 51st, when they flew last week, didn't have to wait the full 8 minutes or whatever it is for a full alignment. I think it was stored. So I don't know what exactly is going on. I haven't noticed that problem before. But we should be getting going here momentarily. We're just waiting on the F-14s to, I guess, get ready to roll. As Mongoose said, they're doing their hair in Top Gun fashion.
And to answer Yaga's question, it wasn't stolen, as more so it was a miscommunication between me and the barber. He asked if I wanted it trimmed. I said no, but he did not hear me, and at some point during my haircut, just shake that thing right off.
No.
So.
Chris, legend has it that the mustache actually took over Billy's persona in his person. So Billy is now a mustache. Like,
yes,
he just doesn't look
correct.
like it.
I used to identify as a browser window. Now I just identify as a mustache. So y'all are going to have to deal with that and process appropriately.
So the map today, if we look here, is Bandar Abbas versus Abu Dhabi, way down here. So we've got a decent amount of flight time between these two teams after they depart. 59th saying they're ready. Still waiting on 104th with those F-14 alignments. And again, to go over who's flying. For the 104th side, you have Stooge in a J-11, Spade, Fallen, and Blaze in F-15s, and then the two ship of F-14s of Sharkin, Mustang, Maverick, and Knight. So both pilots and Rios. Let me make sure that these guys are indeed ready to go. And they are. So it's time to get going, guys. This is week 4, SATAL 2019, 104th versus 59th. Round 1 of this epic matchup. Let's get this going. Fight's on, and the go card call has been issued, and let's watch these guys depart as this round gets underway.
Let's get it on.
That's not what I wanted.
Well, Do we think formations are going to play a big factor in today? I know generally these two teams aren't necessarily your top, it's not like some of the Chinese teams that the formation is kind of paramount in their whole doctrine, if you will. So I get the feeling today we might see a little bit more of a mix-up early on, as opposed to what we kind of watched last week.
Possibly. I think these teams are both typically more aggressive than what we saw last week out of the Chinese teams.
I would agree with that. Now they get the F-14s taken off in the rear too, so you assume they're going to bring up the rear here for 104th, which I believe is generally how they employed it their first match. They only used one, so this is new territory for them, operating two of those, I believe, right?
Yeah, that is true.
Interesting. Get the feeling we might see some action over the city here today. Things end up, the way I think all of us are hoping. Could see some action very well low over that area, which I think we've all been kind of waiting for. It was fun during Top Gun to get to watch that.
I unfortunately have forgotten one of my keys.
Now, I'm curious if we're going to see 104th here try and hold court over the water, or we see 59th try to drag things inland.
Lately, we've been seeing a lot of the guys fly over the water, and I think that's for a situational awareness
Yep.
perspective. Where is the field of view? I done messed up. I don't know where it is. Down, blah, 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 sternal in. Huh. I don't know where this is. I found it, guys. I got it. I got this. So, who was asking about Arena? Live Sim? So Live Sim, the reason the flanker has the ER is for this reason. The flanker has the ER in Arena because the 27R is a garbage missile. Anybody that uses it, it is terrible. The AIM 7 recently got a bit of a buff. It is almost as good as the AIM 120. So giving the flankers 2 ERs, not only is it a realistic payload, because they typically, in the 80s and even now, carry both Rs and ERs, it also gives them not only the crappiest missile in the competition, but also the fastest missile. It can't turn for crap, but the fastest missile. So it makes it the playing field a little bit evener. Not evener, more even, in our opinion. I know people are going to have some issues with it, but for anybody that's used the 27R, is a terrible, terrible missile, and he should feel bad for using it. I mean, you can't kill people, like behind people at like 1 mile. It's horrible. I didn't say it was as good as the 120. I didn't say that. I'm saying it got a buff. It is closer to a 120B as far as range. Not necessarily turning and stuff like that, but it's closer as far as range. I mean, the ER is a terrible missile. Not a terrible missile. It can't turn for crap. So, it is what it is. I'm just saying the AIM-7 got a bit of a buff. The 27R needs some love. And that's where it's at. But anyway, let's jump back into the competition here. So both of these teams, as they ingress, as Billy said, I think are going to take this fight towards feet wet.
It seems like it. I think we could see possibly 59th get pushed back over the city there, but...
And my game just crashed.
Uh-oh. Well, you got a few minutes here. We're still separated.
I do not understand.
Separated by about 104 nautical miles right now.
So we're just waiting for this to reload. I'm not exactly sure why my game continually crashes like this. I thought we were in the clear, but evidently not. So we'll reload. We'll jump back in here. We're not missing any of the action. Luckily, it's a really long flight time. I'm not struggling, Mongoose. I'm just telling you guys how it is. If you guys want to keep track of the action, Yaga just posted the live TAC view. Make sure you watch there because it will not crash. It is not running TCS, so you're not going to run into the crashes that we're gonna run in here. I blame it on Billy not having a mustache. I think that's why.
Yep.
That's why we crashed.
Pretty much. You could chalk it up to that. I think that's
maybe it is reshade.
I know I had these issues where I was getting a lot of crashes with the reshade, but it's probably worth. Yeah, I know it's a process to yank it out of there, but it might be worth doing some testing.
Well, I can always turn it off.
It may help too.
Huh. I don't know what its issue is. So I guess we'll turn MSAA on 2, and then we'll turn reshade off, and we'll jump back into this. So reshade is now off. Hopefully we don't have any more crashes.
We're separated by about 80 miles at this point.
Chris, I doubt it's reshade too, but we'll turn it off. We'll see if we get anything going there.
Worth a try.
We're just waiting on the sim to load. Sim's back up, so we're gonna jump back into the action. Right above Lieutenant Ned. The game's running better. It's just not. It still crashed, which I'm not entirely sure why. But we're back in the action, so you guys should be able to see things coming back up. Both teams definitely pushing this towards feet wet. Massive amounts of separation coming from the 59th side. I don't know if Scorpion and RJF are meaning to be this far back. I don't know if this is intentional. But single F-15 and J-11 way back in the back. Way back in the back. We're separated by 10 nautical miles, which is pretty substantial. I mean, they could be taking a stinger. I guess a trail formation to provide some depth to the formation. That's definitely a possibility. You guys are probably right about it needing to be uninstalled. So we can turn it back on. We'll just see if this gives us any love.
All right, they are definitely poised for a matchup over the water here.
Separation now between these two teams is down to 30 nautical miles, so this fight is getting ready to commence. Hopefully we don't run into another game crash coming in here. 104th is now separating. Not entirely sure what their formation is going to be like. 59th Ravens are now into 3 distinct 2 ships, Yukon and Gemini coming on the left, Cyburns and El Rey on the right, and then trailing is Scorpion and RJF. We look at 104th. It looks like they're forming into 3 2 ships of Blaze, Spade, 104th Fallen and Stooge in the middle, Sharkin and Mustang in the F-14s in the rear. So first missiles should be coming off the rails here momentarily.
So it looks like 59th is sending Gemini and Yukon back to circle around here.
I think they're just playing defensive since they're coming against F-14s. I don't think they're going around the side. They're just turning cold because they're trying to play a little bit defensive.
Nobody wants to run into that 54 right off the bat. Oh, and there's an ET out.
So first ET is coming from Sideburns. It's on Blaze. Blaze puts a 120B out in response. He is now defending. He's still in gates, but that ET is probably going to be, that ET is going to be out of energy by the time it reaches him. Sideburns gets the pitbull warning. ET 120's bearing down on him. Don't think it's going to be a problem. That missile should be out of energy by the time it reaches him, even though Sideburns is very, very slow. 300 knots. That 120 may catch him. That 120 may catch you. We can see it back there. Is it going to be out of energy? With these turns, I think he's going to run out of energy. It's not going to be able to turn with him and those pull that amount of G at its current energy state, so that is not a problem any longer. Gemini puts a 120 out on Stooge. Stooge coming in his J11, puts an R77 out. It's a little long for an R77, but he's probably just trying to get a reaction out of Gemini, who is now defending out there in the distance.
Those F-14s coming in with a significant altitude advantage over pretty much everyone on the battlefield right now.
Yeah,
most
they're
planes
not
at.
too high. I mean, they're high, 30,000 feet. I'd like to see them higher than they are now to give their missiles a little bit more energy. But as the fight's already commenced, 30,000 feet is probably going to be a significant advantage, like you just said.
Yeah, the majority of everybody else is in the 13, I'd say the 10 to 25,000 range here, with the majority being under 20. So if those guys can scream in here, they might be able to pick somebody off from the top.
So both teams playing a bit more defensive than we thought was going to happen in this particular round. Scorpion putting a 120B out on what I believe is going to be Blaze. Blaze is now turning cold, or he's putting it on his beam. No, he's serpentining, probably in an attempt to get that missile out of energy. He puts a 120 out on what I can believe is El Rey, who responds with a 120B of himself on Blaze. And then Blaze turns cold. So both teams putting missiles out and then immediately turning cold. Nothing really going on here. Nothing really developing. Just people putting missiles out and then responding when a missile is shot on them, and then immediately turning cold. 54, the first 54 out of the day. See if we can catch it. There it is. And it's coming in hot. 1,700 knots. I think it's going to catch him. Boom, baby. We didn't see the explosion from the desync, but that's the first casualty coming from 104th Maverick in an F-14, putting an AIM-54 Mark 47 on Yukon, and Yukon is the first casualty of the day in this round one, match one of the day, 104th versus the 59th. That missile, Billy, had a ton of energy, and Sharkin now putting another AIM-54 out from him on a close range Sideburns. Can we see him down there?
Yo!
I think he notched it. I don't think that's going to be a threat any longer.
Yeah, it looks like he, from the top down.
That missile's not a problem. But man, that missile, that first one was moving.
Got a sniper shot with that thing too. They were over by Toon B when they let that thing go.
That thing was moving. I thought they were going to have another kill, but I don't think the 54s are that effective in close. I think they're maybe it's their scan cone or something, but they don't have. Seems like they lose track of their targets a lot.
Well, and then too, you got to think it's coming off the rail really fast. Maneuverability at that speed is going to be minimal, you know.
That is true, and the M54 does take a while to accelerate. 120 out from Fallen on El Rey. That missile could have a decent amount of energy by the time it reaches its target. We can see El Rey starting to defend. 600 knots going into a split S. Is he going to be able to get away from that? I think he's going to be fine. I don't see it. Billy, can you tell? I'm in El Rey's camera. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Nah, that missile's trashed. So we're still down to 5 pilots on the 59 side, still rocking 6 on the 104 side. Stooge puts an ET out on Scorpion. Scorpion is staying hot. Scorpion is not defending. Scorpion, you're still in game, man. You're getting in deep. You're getting in deep. He puts a 120 out late, and he eats that ET. And I don't know if he saw that ET and was just trying to wait, or if he thought he was unseen. But Stooge getting the unsuspecting kill with that ET with his J11.
Nothing like those times where you just blow up from one of those things.
Man, I always crap my pants when that happens. Every time. I don't really get hit by ETs anymore, but if I get hit by a Stinger, I jump. And my wife's seen me. I'm like out of my seat. It's like somebody just came up and strangleholded me, and I had no idea they were coming.
And the jet seat definitely helps with that.
Oh yeah, makes it way, way worse. Way worse.
Did they lose? Did 59 just lose one? Yeah, Scorpion.
They're down to 4.
Scorpion goes down.
Scorpion got hit by an ET from Stooge. So they're definitely down to 4. The pilot sides are now 6 for 104th against 4 for 59. And 104th looks to be staying close and regrouping. AIM 54 coming off from Sharkin. Can we grab it? Can we grab it? There it is. So we're riding along with the AIM 54. It's accelerating now. 1,200 knots. It's now diving. 1,400 knots. We can see the target out there in the distance. It's pulling lead. I can't see it anymore. I can't see it. I can see him now. Still tracking. Still tracking. Still tracking. Boom. It's dead. That's 2 kills. 2 kills with the AIM 54.
Spade just unleashed a fury along with Stooge. 3 missiles in the air on, looks like 3 separate 59 planes.
Those R-77s. You can see how fast those R-77s run out of energy, though. I mean, the 120B launched later is passing. I'm glad Fallen didn't get hit there. We would have. So we're down to 3 pilots for the 59th and still 6 remaining. And another AIM 54. Who's that on? I think that's on RJF. RJF's got that AIM 54 coming in on him. Does he see it? Can we see it?
I think he notched it. I think he notched it.
Did he?
Yeah, he notched it.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe some nice use of chaff there, I would have to assume, to spoof it the way it looked like.
120 coming out from Fallen. Fallen's putting 120s out on everybody.
Whoa.
RJF, don't think you're going to be able to defend that.
And he's merging with Gemini. Oh!
Fallen's just launching all the things in there. Takes out two pilots. Gemini's all by himself, and he is surrounded. He is in the lion's den, ladies and gentlemen. Gemini, the lone pilot remaining, against 6. 6!
Ooh, that 8-9 coming off with decent try. Oh, nope.
No, they're getting clear, but that second one might get him. That second one's got him. Second one put him into the grave, but he's got people all over his 6, and that's it. So Gemini, able to take 1 pilot down with me, turns into a pencil as he flies and plummets towards the dark abyss of the ocean, and that's all she wrote for round 1. As long as 104th is able to RTB, I'm assuming they got plenty of fuel. The Spade still has his tanks on, and man, I think really the closer, the game changer from that was the first AIM 54. Who launched that one at the very beginning? That just obliterated one of the 59th guys.
That was certainly, I don't know if we saw as much organization as we're used to seeing in these in these matches. I will say, I think 104th did a good job of regrouping towards the end there and really, putting their foot on the throat of the 59th.
What I did like there was that 104th seemed to, like you just said, they seemed to regroup, and then they seemed to, at the very end, when there were 3 pilots remaining, led by Fallen. I think it was 3 pilots remaining, maybe it was 4. They all pushed together. They didn't just push one at a time. They all pushed together. And Chris says that the first AIM-54 kill came from Maverick or his Rio, so that definitely would be the case. And in the meantime, it looks like we're not doing an RTV. I'm going to throw you guys to a fan video while I get set up for the next one. And we're going to jump to the TAC view just so we can break all this stuff down. So I'm going to throw you guys to a fan video. I'll see you guys here in just a few minutes. Enjoy, and catch you in a bit.
Tally, 1, bandits are in hot. Press fresh, new engage. Show force 400 feet off the deck over the target AO. With the fear of God in.
Well, guys, TAC view doesn't really feel like launching for some reason, so unfortunately we're not going to be able to watch that. I'll have to look at that for tomorrow's matchups. But TAC view just doesn't want to play nice, and I blame it on Billy's lack of mustache.
Yep.
I really think that's anything
I
that
fucked
happens
things up,
bad
guys.
today.
I'm sorry.
Anything that happens badly today, that's what I'm gonna blame.
Yep. I wouldn't argue it. I mean, I dropped the ball here, guys.
Yeah.
You know?
You guys
Gotta
are
wear
talking about notching the AIM-54. The AIM-54 isn't hard to notch. It's just you got to know it's coming, because if you wait until too late, that missile is going to have so much energy, you're just going to die. So you've got to notch, like, you got to flare preeminently with the ET for the ETs that are coming. And actually, TAC view just decided it wanted to load. So I'm going to close all this. We're going to jump into TAC view.
And I think you'll agree that's it's a way to describe it. It's like a sixth sense. You know, you get into these situations and you know there's a high probability somebody's put one of those things out on you. Like, you can't wait for your system to let you know that it's time to start chaffing. Like, you have to proactively get out and get ahead of that stuff and put yourself in a better position once it actually gets close enough to alert you.
Right. So I think it's just that they didn't notch. It's not that they're hard to notch. And there is desync, which can cause problems, but you got to notch. You have to, when you get in close and you're fighting F-14s, you have to go into a notch. Otherwise, you're gonna die. So let's play this forward. Let me make sure that you guys can see everything. I'm gonna turn the label scales up so we can see everything that's going down, and we will go through this. So nothing really goes on here for a while. Where's the first AIM-54 launch? Where is it? There it is. So Maverick launches from way back here. And who does he put it on? Do you remember who Maverick launched on?
Yukon, I believe.
Can we grab him? I don't remember. Shift. There we go. So the distance here, is it going to tell me? It's actually closer than I think we think it is. Yeah, he's pretty close. I mean, he's 15 nautical miles when he launches it. And that missile just had a ton of energy. I think it was still under power by the time it reached him. and he didn't go into a notch. He wasn't really vertical notching. He wasn't really right here. He should have stayed in this notch instead of, I don't know how high he was. How high is he? See if we can.
I think everyone from 59th at this point was below 23, 24.
So he's below it, but he's not really low enough in my opinion. And he just, he tries to run away from it instead of notching it. And since he did that, that's really why he died, in my opinion. You're not going to be able to outrun a Phoenix.
Yeah, don't put it downhill.
It's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. So that's just what ends up going down there. If he would have stayed in the notch, that wouldn't have been a problem, but he just decided he didn't want to. So there's the ET kill right here against who is it? Spade or Scorpion and Stooge. And that launch comes at 7 nautical miles. That's actually a little bit long for an ET. He should have been able to see it, and he just, for whatever reason, doesn't. And he pays for it. So Stooge getting the stealthy ET, and I think Scorpion wasn't even sorted on him. He was actually watching Spade. And if we carry this on, we're now down to 4 pilots remaining against 6 for 104th. El Rey gets here. That's a long... Oh, that's a 54 shot again. So if you look at Knight's F-14 against El Rey, missile comes off the rail. These aren't long 54 shots. This one's 12 nautical miles. These are actually relatively close. And they take a while to accelerate. So he has plenty of time to know that's coming. And again, they don't try and notch it. They try and split S. They panic, and they try and go into a split S and run away. And we can see El Rey do that. He's flying in, pitbull warning off the M54, and instead of either going into a vertical notch or a normal notch, he tries to split S it and run away from it and dies. And that, again, ain't gonna work. That is not gonna work against these missiles. And this is all the missiles coming off the rail from Fallen, and he starts to press here. And Fallen is coming in against really there's all of these guys from 59th. First missiles get notched or dealt with, and then he puts two more, AIM 120s, one on Cyburns and one on Gemini. He gets both of them because they're so close. There's no way to do anything. Flies right by Gemini. Multiple missiles. Nobody's really sorting Gemini. I would have liked to see a better sort come here from the 54th, as nobody sorts Gemini, and Gemini's able to just get a free pass and come in on Blaze, and that's why Blaze dies. But Blaze does eventually get dealt with by Knight with an AIM 7. So really the thing that got that round started was the first AIM 54 kill coming from Maverick. That's what it came down to, and that's where everything really started to change, or started going in 154's favor. But we see that a lot. We see that all the time and time again in these SATAL matches, is once one person dies and you're down 5 to 6, I think people underestimate how much of a disadvantage you are when you're down 5 pilots to 6 in a competitive match environment like this. So we're back in here. Let's jump back into the action. I'm going to change the scoreboard, which I haven't had a chance to change yet. I'm going to do that real quick. So 104's up 1. DCS, I think, crashed again because it's a special snowflake. DCS, you're killing me. Please, just stop. Just stop. I want to love you. I do love you. You're like the lover that I can't get away from. I love you so much, but you keep doing bad things to me, but I keep coming back. Just sadness. Sadness. Where did I lost my... There we go. So we'll relaunch this. You actually have a thingy on your camera view, so we'll move that.
Whoops.
But, Billy, what do you think of that round? What do you think 59th needs to change in this round in order to possibly come out on top?
Well, I think one of the big things we just harped on, recognizing that those AIM-54s are going to be in the battlefield, and they need to kind of do a better job as far as notching and respecting those things when they head close to that merge area. Like I said, I'd like to see them come out and be a little bit more aggressive out the gate and push hard here. Although I don't know if necessarily with those 14s in play, how easy that's going to be for them. Like I said, I think you have to disrupt what they're trying to do here and allow yourself to try to pick some guys off early. And as you just, talked about just recently, how crucial it is to get that early advantage. And I think that needs to be kind of at the forefront of their plan here, to try to pick somebody off early and fast and use that advantage throughout the rest of the match.
Mm-hmm. What about 104th? What do you see coming from their side? What do you think they need to continue or do better?
I think, if they continue using the F-14 in the way they have been, I think we're going to see them be successful. Keeping those things kind of set towards the back, bringing them forward when the time is right, and utilizing those missiles, drawing some of the 59th guys in seemingly closer to make those shots a little bit more, the higher probabilities on some of those shots. I think I'd like, if I had to pick something from them, I'd like to see a little bit better on the organization. I think they got a little bit away from it early on in the first portion of that match. But like I said, I think we saw a decent regroup after they took out a few, and they were able to really effectively come in and just absolutely kind of lay the hurt towards the end of that thing. So
I'd like to see better organization coming from both teams. Once there really wasn't any shape at all from both teams.
They went out the window quick.
Well, I don't even think there was any to go out the window. There wasn't any to begin with, in my opinion, coming from both teams. I think I'd like to see better shape coming from both of these teams from the onset, and then maintaining that shape as they press through the engagement. DCS is not liking me right now for some reason. It doesn't want to launch. So I killed the process, and we'll see if it comes up here. But just DCS, I can't. Never works. I don't know why. But chat, what do you think? I guess I was talking about 104th as 154th. That was my fault.
Mongoose Magoo saying that they should change their name to the 12,000th Ravens, and maybe we would see an improvement. I think we discussed, I don't know how much truth there is to the whole higher number, better performance.
Well, it seemed to hold true in that last engagement, didn't it?
Yeah, fair. I can't argue that. Maybe adding some numbers might not hurt at the end of the day.
104th is a higher number than the 59th, and it seemed like they came out on top. Isn't that seems to hold valid?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I guess until somebody proves it wrong, it's factual, right?
Well, yeah. Much like your assessments last year with the airfields and coming out of certain airfields, and you thought certain ones were going to be more effective as people departed from certain ones. Dread says DCS doesn't like backwards hats. I think it's lack of mustaches that are causing problems.
I'm not going to argue that. I mean, I can't agree with the backwards hat thing, because we've had the backwards hat for plenty of time and it's not caused issues. So it's got to be the absence of mustache on my face that's causing these issues today.
It has to be.
And like I said, I got to wear it, guys. I got to wear it. It's my fault. I screwed this up. Is what it is.
Coxie, that's a absolutely correct name. Desync Combat Simulator. That's Solid says, instead of it just being the team name or the squadron name with the higher number, it could be the tail number of who comes out on top. Could be.
And I will be growing it back, by the way. So you guys can join me on this journey of growth throughout the next several months. Every week you'll be able to check in and see how the mustache is growing. So it's going to be a lot more fun for you guys, I think.
He's not growing crap back. He's going to be baby face for the rest of his life.
The only thing that's been nice is not chewing on mustache while I eat. But other than that, I feel like a terrible version of my old self.
Well, you weren't a great self to begin with, so
well, that's debatable.
That
is debatable.
God, Creedle, they're not, these collars, they're not that bad, okay? I don't have, you see this? I don't have, this shirt fits. Okay?
Moltar wears synthetic fibers, bro. Can you guys not figure that shit out?
I
He
gotta
lives in
breathe.
2030 or 2019 over here, dude.
I gotta
Like,
breathe.
We
My
wear
skin's gotta
synthetic
breathe.
clothing. It's where it's at.
Well, what you guys
guys-
don't see is I'm usually in a nylon bodysuit.
Well, it's frankly, they should be lucky you're not making fun of them for wearing cotton. Straight up.
Creedle says, who's the 14-year-old Moltar? Man, they're letting you have it today.
I said it was gonna happen. I knew this was coming. I didn't really know how to yell at the barber, so I just walked out of there going, "This is gonna be a mess on Saturday."
But you still paid him, didn't you?
I did not tip what I normally tip. I'll say that
But you
much.
still tipped him.
I mean, I'm a decent human being. You know,
I
guy's probably got a family to feed and shit, right?
Okay. All right.
I mean, I normally tip pretty good. The old guy who cut my hair and did everything right and didn't shave my mustache, he got a decent tip. New guy, on the other hand, was
Didn't.
minimal. It was reflective of the cut I got.
Making sure both teams have the same aircraft selection. Indeed, they do. So we should be getting underway here shortly. Let's see what we've got going on.
And Frosty, I attempted to acquire a fake mustache, but it didn't work in time, so that was my original plan. Wonder if they'll notice.
Just waiting on these guys to get ready. Looks like 104th is encountering an INS issue again. Maybe there's an INS bug with the Tomcat dispatch. I don't know. I'm just happy they fixed the seemingly active AIM 7s or whatever was going on with them before.
Yeah, you could fire those things and head out of Dodge and still be alright.
Slow this down. Can't use the keyboard properly, ladies and gentlemen. I keep stopping. There we go. And then I overshoot it and we start moving the other direction. Just waiting on everybody to get started. And guys, while we wait for them to get finally rolling, I'm going to send us to one more fan video. And we'll be back here momentarily while the F-14s get the INS spooled up, and we'll be underway round 2 between 104th Phoenix and the 59th Ravens. See you guys in a bit.
One day we'll return here when the Belfast chart sings again. One day we'll return here when the Belfast chart sings again. Brother, sister, where are you now? As I look free, right through the crowd. All my life here I've spent with my faith in God, the church, and the government. Some say troubles abound. Someday soon they're gonna put the old town down.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're just about underway. I got the 1-minute call coming from the 104th, so we should be rocking and rolling here momentarily. 59th Ravens are now taxiing here at Bandar Abbas. I'm assuming 104th is doing the exact same down south at Abu Dhabi, and we should be good to go for this round 2.
Yeah,
I think
looking good.
59th's going to pull it off here.
You know, I think I wouldn't say the term upset would be appropriate, but it certainly would be unexpected with what we saw out of them in that first round. So I'd like to see that as well. I think they're certainly capable of it. I think it's just a matter of starting the match out on the right foot. And like I said, I really think they would benefit if they can come out and just snatch one of these 104th guys right off the bat. I know we've seen in the past when 104th has gotten hit like that quick, they've taken a second to kind of react, and I think there's a window there if you can force it to where you can get an advantage on them.
So now it looks like we had a disconnect coming from 104th Mustang.
Bro.
This is, as the pilots are saying that are in this particular round, this is the cursed round. RJF Sideburns is saying that his flares are being stuck and ejecting, and it's just things just keep going. Keep going, and now Sharkin just disconnected.
Yeah,
Hopefully they can
I had this
swap.
happen with based upon what Maverick just said. I had this happen with my Rio 3 times this week. As we would make the turn onto the runway, the Rio crashes. I mean, it happened at the same spot like 4 times in a row.
Wonder why.
I thought it was strange too, because it's literally like a turn. As the plane entered a certain percentage of the plane onto the runway, it would happen.
Interesting. Wonder what would cause that to happen.
See, it only did it to us on one server at one base, so that's why I just assumed maybe it was something going on with the file or something like that. I don't remember what server we were on when it was happening. But that was the first time I have experienced that, but just based on the way he described it, is seemingly the same thing.
Change the view here, because that's important. Change that down. Good to go. So we'll jump to 9.
Microvac saying it's a DCS bug.
Microvex, I'm sure it's a DCS bug. I'm just curious as to why that was going on. Now Blaze says that it could be related to specific airfields.
That's to me seems logical based upon what I've seen with it. Not that I've seen it happen a whole lot, but it was definitely like a specific place that it was occurring at. So they say they can't take off from that. Okay, yeah, put the Rios in. Yeah, that makes sense.
No, it's the reason those aren't here is because they're restricted or banned in this particular competition, because we felt like the AIM-9X and the AIM-54C being smokeless and the AIM-120C, they are not conducive to competitive play, and they're hard to balance, so that's why they're banned in this particular competition. We feel like the rules that we have here is as close to balance or as parity as we can get. Now they say they need to take new jets. Fun.
Obviously, it has to do with American planes and everything.
Well, yeah. The soil's just rejecting the aircraft as they get dirt on their tires. Robski's probably right. You probably take a 54A Mark 60 because of its increased energy. I wonder if they're having to align.
I'm curious if now I want to go try and take off from there later and see if it crashes on me.
I think 59th, back to the actual match at hand, I think 59th has a good chance if they're able to be more organized, like we talked about previously. If they're able to get in shape, stay in shape, and keep the communication on point, I think they've got a solid chance of taking this to the 104. The key is they have to stay in shape, and given what we saw in round one, the shape from both teams needs
It was lacking,
big
there's no
lack.
doubt. Yep. I think 59th certainly could use, at least off the bat, trying to come in and at least be in better formation heading into that initial merge. The initial fracas, if you will.
Fracas.
We don't often see
Fracas.
a merge right off the bat at least.
Ruckus, huh?
Yes,
That's a
yes
new
indeed.
word.
I feel like I used it properly. I could be wrong.
Is that a real word?
Oh, I believe it is.
Somebody tell me in chat, is fracas a word?
I believe so.
Or is Billy lacking his mustache also lacking brain cells and just making things up?
Fracas, Fracas, a noisy disturbance or quarrel. So I think we could define what takes place in the around the bullseye as a noisy disturbance or quarrel, right?
Could we?
I think so. Certainly,
Yeah, we-
certainly noisy, and there's certainly a quarrel between both of these teams.
Looks like some of these guys have turned off. Up here, the flanker to our left.
And we noted that the 59th is using the desert skins, but not a lot of help that is doing over the water today.
No. You fly over the water, it's not going to be a huge,
Yep.
a
Nope.
huge help in your camouflage coming in against them.
You know, maybe 59th had, ideas of maybe, trying to hold this thing over land today. And, if that's the case, I think I'd like to see them do a better job of trying to drag 104th land side. Now, with the side switch, that won't be as easy for them. However, I feel like if 59th could pull 104th guys into the urban areas and the land there, they may have themselves a little bit better of a chance.
Stooge says 3 minutes. One of the F-14s is already taxiing, but I don't know if he's going to disconnect again. Bullet, I'm sorry to hear that you don't feel all that well. Hopefully you get better here quickly, brother.
And Vinny D brings up a good point. 59th is going to have to stay defensive until those 54s get notched, and that's a good point. That really kind of hamstrings the 59th a little bit in how they can approach this thing. Just knowing there's a chance there might be some 54s coming at them out the start. Now, Stooge looks like he's saying 3 minutes.
We said 3 minutes a while ago.
Oh, oops.
Creedle, yeah, I'm enjoying this Pac-Man stick. I still got to get used to it. Still, the wireless can be a little spotty at times, but it's doing well. I'm still shocked at the number of missiles this F-14 is taking. This F-18, excuse me, is taking. Well, Papa Putin, I don't want them to just defend. I want them to be more organized. I don't want them to just defend. You can't do that. Or like you just said, if they just defend, they're going to die. The key is they need to be more organized coming into this. I think if they can get the organization down, and work as a team in a community, they stand a better chance of coming out on top. Cap, you missed round 1. 104 took it 5 pilots to 0. So 5 pilots remaining. And this is round 2. We're still waiting on them to get going. I think they're ready. So we'll give round 2 a go. And fights on. Let me make sure. Well, I got to make sure that both teams ready. I think one of their guys was turned off. All right, they're ready. So here we go. And this is round 2. Finally underway between 104th and the 59th Ravens. 104th leads this 1-0 in a best of 3. Who's going to come out on top? Let's listen to these guys depart here at Bandar Abbas. Billy, do you think 59's going to be able to redeem themselves here?
I certainly hope so. I think they are absolutely capable of doing it. Like I said, it's a matter of executing today. We'll see what they do. I feel like they have I feel like they're going to end up getting to the middle a little bit sooner here. Just maybe that's just me being crazy, but it looks like I feel like they're out the gate a little bit faster than 104th here. And maybe that gives them the opportunity they need to push in and kind of get a little bit of an advantage out the gate. But I think them having a successful initial volley against 104th will be crucial here.
The key there, having the successful initial volley going in there. I think they have to, in order to come out on top in this round 2, they have to get the first kill.
Absolutely. I think that's crucial. I think specifically with how we've seen 104th fly after losing someone quickly. I feel like that is a linchpin for them in certain situations, not all. But, and I think that can be said for a lot of teams. When you lose a guy quick and fast like that, you bring it up all the time, what that does to the morale and the mindset to a lot of the people flying. So I think for a lot of teams, that's a crucial thing to come out and try to snatch somebody right out the gate.
Mm-hmm. And I think that the opposite is going to hold true, that if 104th is able to get the first kill, the match is going to lean heavily in their favor.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be a long afternoon for 59th if they lose somebody right out the gate here. Respect those 14s. I think we all saw what happens if you don't do that. So it's an interesting route we're seeing 59th take right now. Almost looks as if they're headed for Oman and Kashab there.
Kasab.
Yeah, I'm not going to get those right, guys. So it's going to be a long day on that stuff.
It looks like they're taking this to the mountains, and I don't know how I feel about that.
It's a different tactic than what they went with in the first round. I feel like they didn't really have the opportunity coming from the south to utilize those mountains, but coming from the north, they definitely do have that.
Anybody that we've seen try and use mountain tactics has died. They've lost the round. I think a big reason that they end up losing is because they don't have situational awareness. Their shape falls apart. They don't support each other, and they end up committing into these engagements one at a time. But every time we've seen this, both on Caucasus and on the Persian Gulf this year, they have lost. Not just 59.
Specifically regarding the airbase selection from today's roll, it's not like the 104 started at Al Ain, which shifts the bubble a little bit more out into the Gulf of Oman there and gives you some breathing room if you were to, say, try to use those mountains. Now you're basically, your back's on the wall there. If 104th, which now it looks like they're redirecting towards that northern tip of Oman there, you could easily be pushing these guys outside the bubble or putting them in a spot where they don't have a whole lot of area to run to. So it's a risky decision here by 59th. And right now, I feel like 104th is struggling to process what to do there. I think we've seen them change headings twice in the last 30 seconds to a minute. They look like they started to push in towards that whole area, that mountain area, but now it seems like they're pulling back out towards the ocean. Which, if I was them, I feel like I'd want to pull them away from those mountains there and make them come out and get you.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would try and do too. It's a lot of what 51st did last week, where they didn't go into the mountains against the 36. They waited at the foothills and made 36 come out and get them. And when they did, 36 died, or they put themselves at a significant disadvantage because they didn't have the situational awareness, or the team play that 51st did, because they have the situational awareness and the benefit of being over flat land and the altitude. And if you give yourself that advantage, you're giving yourself a one-up in the engagement, putting more into your favor, giving you more of a chance to come out with a W. So I think 104th is playing this right. I think if they're able to maintain discipline and force 59th to come out and meet them, that they're giving more and more of this fight and pushing it into their own court. Or sorry, making their side have a better chance of coming out on top and pushing more of it into 59th's court. And what I mean by that is making 59th do things to come out on top, whereas 104th is just going to play the waiting game. And I like that. You ask the opposition questions, and they have to answer them, and they answer them given their actions.
And I think with the 104th having the game in hand here, that is their, choice to make in this whole thing. They really have the ability to say, nope, you got to come get us here. Because if you don't, we win, So now it looks like 2 of the 3 ships for 59th are headed feet dry through the mountains, as we're 1 with Sideburns and El Rey staying feet wet, pushing towards Bullseye. And we have out of 104th, it seems a very tight 4-pack of Stooge in his J11 and the other pilots in their F-15s, and then you have the 2 F-14s kind of trailing in the rear, similar to how they did it last time. I'm curious what this initial 4 ship is going to do as we get closer here.
I think if 59th can maintain this shape, they're in a pretty good...
Agreed.
They're in a pretty good place. They've got 2 leading 2 ships and a trailing 3 ship. And if they maintain this shape and they maintain this altitude and they defend the Phoenixes early, I think they're going to be in a good spot.
I like the fact that they're coming out with something a little unorthodox here and mixing it up and trying to give 104th a look that they may not be familiar with here.
Maybe. Burpee says 59th look like they're doing a distraction. Maybe. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to push the fight towards the mountains. So if stuff does hit the fan, they're able to descend and use the mountains as cover. I don't necessarily really like that. I'd rather be in the flatland because, yes, you don't have a place to hide, but neither does your opponent. And if you're well disciplined and you're well flown in with your team, you have wingmen that can come in and pull somebody off of you. So I would rather be out in the flatland or over the water. That's just me personally. Separation between these 2 teams is now down to 53 nautical miles. Separation between the flight elements of 59th is significant. 16 nautical miles. That is a little worrisome for me. I don't know how I feel about that. That's a little... I'm troubled by that. The other thing that I'm worried about is 104th coming in here and capitalizing on the isolation of El Rey and Sideburns and really taking the fight to them by themselves instead of the entire 59th team. And since there's so much separation here, these guys are going to be isolated for a significant amount of time. And that could spell disaster for the 59th, and it could lead directly to where round 1 went, and that was a first casualty coming from the 59th side and drastically swaying the favor of the match into the 104th angle.
I'm curious what these 2 with El Rey and Sideburns here are going to do with this massive pile of fighters headed at them right now.
Right. I don't know if they just defend early, but if they get in too deep, they're going to have to defend some long-range 54s where if they just split S, they're probably going to get hit. You have to notch them. The range on those things is absurd. I mean, we're already well within
their range, yeah.
Phoenix range. I mean, we're 35 nautical miles from 104th Night to the El Rey and Sideburns formations. And if they continue to press, I think we're going to see an early Phoenix.
This is one of those moments where you really hope somebody's got a plan here.
Well, you would hope. Whether that's the case, I don't know.
Here we go.
104th Spade now, and who is it?
2 are breaking
Stooge
away.
Breaking apart, and Fallen and Blaze breaking apart. And I think they're just going into more of a two ship. So 2 ship followed by another. And we're probably going to see the F-14s turn around and provide more depth further back.
They're definitely turning this thing, so it is them dragging out to the ocean or being dragged in feet dry here, at least the way it's shaping up.
R-77 coming from Sideburns. That's going to be a long way there. I don't think that's going to be effective, but he may just be trying to get a reaction from the 104th pilots. Sideburns and El Rey immediately turn cold, and maybe what may be going on here is you may be seeing Sideburns and El Rey pushing the fight and then trying to draw visuals coming from 104th and then allowing Gemini, Yukon, Scorpion, and RJF to come in on the flank. That may be what's going on. Watching Stooge here press in. If he sees anybody, he's doing really weird things with his rudder. I'm worried he's going to break a wing off. Granted, he is kind of slow at 309 knots. But now I'm seeing Gemini and Yukon turning cold. This is just kind of a bizarre setup going on here. Not entirely sure.
It's definitely different than what we're used to seeing, that's for sure.
Well, I'm not entirely sure what the game plan or what they want the outcome to be with this.
Organization is definitely there. That seems, at least by the 59th, to have been stepped up pretty bit.
Organization is there, but I'm worried about the separation between each of the flight elements. So they're
that
10
is
nautical
definite.
miles, which is okay, but you're only a 2-ship, and if you get jumped by even another 2-ship or a 3-ship and you're at a disadvantage there, it's really hard for another element to come in and help you. So the separation is what's most troubling for me. And if you look down here at Gemini and Yukon, that's 15 nautical miles between Scorpion and RJF and Gemini and Yukon. I mean, that's significant. And then we've got Scorpion putting a 120B on an already cold Fallen, and I don't see that being effective. I don't even see them as really. He's not going to respect that at all. He may not even get a pitbull warning from it, as that missile's still 11 nautical miles away. I mean, we see first AIM 54 coming from Knight. See if we can get a ride along with it. There it is. Past 2,400 knots. 2,500. So it just came out of its burn. It's already decelerating. It's already down to 2,000 knots. It's just starting its descent. Is it still tracking? Are you looking at the F10? It looks like it's still tracking. Some desync going on. I can see its target now. I don't know what it's doing now. Holds a lot of G. Oh, it's still tracking. That thing's out of energy. It might hit him if he maintains his current flight path. I can't tell. It's moving around too much. I don't think it's going to catch him unless he turns into it. Is he headed towards it or away from it? Oh no! He's flying right toward. Is he, or is he flying away? He's flying away. That
I think he's flying away.
Yeah, the missile's trashed.
It tracked for quite a bit.
It did. I thought he was gonna be flying like directly towards it, and if he did, he was gonna die. Even with that missile having 500 knots, he was gonna be in trouble.
Tell you what, I feel like 59th doing a much better job. I know we were talking about how far they were spread out, but I feel like with how tight 104th is staying together, it's allowing, at least so it seems, 59th to have a little bit more mobility around them. They haven't pushed into the flanks yet, but I feel like the opportunity's there if they wanted to.
Yeah, I like, they're staying more disciplined. If we look at the 104th side, I don't really see, I don't know what their shape's going on. They're just kind of on top of each other. They're close together so they can support each other. Another 54 coming from Maverick. Does he have any left?
That's one on Gemini right there.
He has one left. So that one's probably going to be on Gemini.
And he's split-essing,
But
no
it's not going to
doubt.
matter. He's got to notch it.
Yep.
Has to notch it. Otherwise, that missile's going to catch him. Has to notch it. You have to notch it. Here it comes. 1,800 knots. Camera's kind of all over the place. 1,400 knots. Still tracking. Still tracking. Got him. Got a notch. Have to. So we're down to 5 pilots now for the 59th. 6 remaining for 104th. And that missile didn't have a ton of energy left. I mean, it was at 1,000 knots. It was like Mach 1.4, 1.5. And it shouldn't have killed him. He should have gone into a notch. And with the notch machine, the meme machine that the F-18 is, that shouldn't have been a big deal. But since he pulled away, and you're not going to outrun it. It's not going to happen. And he died because of that. Another AIM-54 coming from Knight. I think that's on Scorpion. Scorpion turns cold. Is he going to be able to do anything about this? Keep me updated on what that AIM-54 is doing.
All right.
Oh no, it's on El Rey.
It's
But
moving.
27 ET on Stooge. There's some flares. He knows it's coming, but he's still in gates. That, ladies and gentlemen, right there is a perfect example. Perfect example of you can dump all the flares you want, but if you stay in gate, you're going to die. It doesn't matter if you flare. If you stay in gate, it's going to kill you if it has enough energy because it doesn't give a crap about the flares. AIM-7 coming on sideburns.
He's got to
not
move.
respecting it. I think this kills him. No chaff. Nothing coming. Is it going to have the energy?
Ooh,
Yes.
yep.
Sideburns gets popped. We're now down to 5 pilots remaining for the 104th and 4 for 59th. So, but I am happy that 59th was able to get a kill. So they're taking a little bit of a stride there. AIM-54 now coming on El Rey, and I think that AIM-54 launch was a little bit too far. And by the time it got to El Rey, it just didn't have the energy to make the turn with him. It bled too much energy during the G loading. Spade puts a 120 out on Yukon. See if we can catch that coming off. It's already come off the rail. Let's see if we can see Yukon. No pitbull warning yet on Yukon. Can I grab him? Let's see if we can get him. He's defending now.
He put one out
He
late
did.
there.
Does he get away from it? I think he does. He does. He gets it notched, and Spade was already turning cold, so that was a non-factor. Blaze puts a 120 out on RJF, who's already cold, and we still have 5 pilots remaining for 104th, 4 remaining for 59th, and Yukon just says, I give no cares about that 120, and immediately recommits, but Fallen puts a 120 out on Yukon. Yukon doesn't know it's coming yet, turns into it, no chaff coming from him, nothing. He pays for that, but he's still up. Is this pilot dead?
And then Fallen,
another one.
significant note there, Fallen put out an extra 120 and an extra 9, so he used 3 pieces of ordnance to get that one kill. I feel
Yeah,
like
but that kill,
it was very,
that was
very
an
valuable
important
in the
kill.
grand scheme.
I mean, we're
Yeah,
down
no
to
doubt.
5 pilots now for 104th, and 59th only has 3. So the more losses that 59th takes, the more insurmountable the task comes of them coming back. So AIM-7 coming from Knight. El Rey has a 120 back on him. I don't know that he knows this is coming. He doesn't. There's no warning. There's the chaff. And there's the missile flying right by him. So that wasn't the chaff that got him. That was just the missile being out of energy. That was a well-timed, I'm going to guess that he meant that, but it was a well-timed turn, defensive turn coming from Knight. We still have 5 pilots for 104th and 3 remaining for 59th. Will 59th be able to come back from this? Will they be able to do conquer the unsurmountable and come back in this round 2 and push this to a round 3? ET off the rails for RJF.
And a
Scorpion puts a
54.
120 out and a 54, like you said, coming from Maverick. Who's that on? That's on El Rey again, and it's not too long, but
He seems to know what he's doing as far
it
as
gonna
outrunning
catch
this
him?
thing.
he's recommitting now. Is it going to catch him?
Ooh, yeah, that might have not been the right move right there.
I don't know. 1,600 knots still.
Ooh.
I don't see him yet.
No, it looked like he spoofed it.
Yeah,
Yep.
he did. That missile's trash.
And now Fallen really putting the screws to RJF right now.
RJF's in trouble. He's in a world of trouble. These missiles are going to have too much energy by the time they reach him, I think.
El Rey might be able to back Spade off
Maybe
him,
not.
but
No, he dies.
he's, yeah.
Oh, look! God, did you see that? Did
Whoa,
you see how close that
Yes.
missile was? Did
Whoa.
you see that? Spade now is in a bit of no.
Ooh.
He notched that missile, but did you see how close that missile came to RJF? That was
Wow.
nuts. And can you check the missile counts coming from 50s
Yep.
for 104th? I think they may be running out
104th.
of munitions here.
I was
Coming
going to
into
say,
the
I've
game.
seen a lot of ordnance coming onto them. The F-14 of Sharkin has 1 AIM-9, 2 AIM-7.
Multiple 120s coming out. El Rey may be in a bit of trouble. Was he able to notch it? No. And another missile coming on RJF. Does he get away from this?
Blaze down to 199.
No. So he got hit. So Scorpion is the last man remaining against 5 from 104th. And again, we're seeing the same thing that we saw from them in the last round, and that is there's just an all-out, unprecedented push coming from the 104th side. Unfortunately, Scorpion still has his bag on. What munitions does Scorpion have left? 2 AIM-9s. I unfortunately don't think he's going to be able to kill 5 people with 2 AIM-9s. I don't think he's got that written in his stars there. Don't think he's going to be able to come back from that. Is 104th climbing? They're starting to. They're all pretty low. Well, the two back guys, Spade and Blaze, are still pretty high.
This is going to be interesting to see what his strategy here is.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing where. I think he's just trying to get to the higher mountains.
I was going to say, I think right now it's not die quickly. Might be the current strategy. I mean, 104th should be sending somebody back at this point. Not that that's going to be a big issue here, but
what their fuel state is.
it's very true.
There goes the tank. Excuse me. That's second puberty for me. How high are Fallen and Maverick? See, Fallen and Maverick are climbing. I like this. Fallen's already at 17,000 feet, over Mach 1. Scorpion's much slower, 2,000 feet at 500.
And the bubble's about.
He's going to get run down. Fallen's going to run him down. What does Fallen have left? There goes the 120 from Fallen. Can we see it? We can see it coming off there. We can see it tracking. And he dies here. Fallen's got too good of a position on him.
Yeah,
there
now
goes
he
an
does.
aim-9.
That's his last name.
120 hit him. The
He hit the
120
mountain.
hit him. He's dead.
Oh, did he? Looked like he hit the mountain.
Nah, he got hit by 120. The first launch 120.
There you go. That's all she wrote, folks.
And that's it. And again, it's that commanding push coming from the not from the 59th, from 104th. Once that happens, it's like everybody dies in a torrent. Bunch of people die at the same time, and that's exactly what we saw here. 104th push when they felt like they had the advantage. There were like 3 pilots remaining for the 59th. They weren't able to defend against it, and they paid. They paid for it. There's, again, 5 pilots remaining for 104th. I don't think fuel's going to be any type of issue for them, but all the 59th guys have been eliminated, and if 104th is able to land, or 59th says that they don't need to RTB, then that is all she wrote, and 104th will take it in this 2-round matchup between 104th and 59th in this Diamond League matchup here on this Saturday morning. I don't know if they're going to make him RTB.
I don't see why.
I don't think fuel's going to be a problem. I mean, he's still at 95% engine RPM. Maverick's sitting at... Maverick's in gate. So I don't think they have a problem there.
Yeah, that should be good if that's the case.
Well, Maddie, I don't think it's a waste of time. The problem is that if you don't defend them, you're going to die. But if you're able to defend them, which they're not hard to defend, if you defend them and put them in a notch, they become a non-factor. We haven't seen them really be used against a team that's going to defend them. I mean, if we look last week against N-Sky and Chinese Festival, the 54s weren't really part of the equation, I don't think. I mean, they weren't part of the equation like they were this week. I think, how many kills did they get this week? 3?
I believe so. I think we saw one pretty, decisive long shot that was able to creep up on somebody, and then 2, I'd say, fairly average shots for the Phoenix.
But you just have to defend them, and if you don't defend them, you're going to die. But they are not hard to notch. They're not hard missiles to defend against. You just can't run away from them.
I think you made that good example about the comparison to the ETs, and when you head into that range, we all have those ranges in our head, and once you're within somebody's striking range of that thing, you should be putting flares out. The same thing with the AIM-54, the notching. When you head into that range and you got a good idea that guy's bearing down on you, pop those chaffs a little bit early, get ahead of the problem, and start creating, as you're notching, start creating that larger signature for that AIM-54 to pick up behind you. And I think, you do that effectively enough, and you really won't have to worry about those AIM-54s unless somebody gets the jump on you,
Right. Oh, it's just being proactive. Defending early, even when you don't get the pitbull warning, and if you're able to do that, they're not a factor. You have to respect them, yes, but it's just like you have to respect the ET. If you don't respect it, you're gonna die. It's like the case where Stooge didn't respect it. He flared, but he stayed in gate, so he kind of didn't respect it, and he paid for it by dying. And the same thing goes in with the 54. If you don't respect it and notch, even when you're not getting a pitbull warning, you're gonna die. It's that simple. You have to notch it and expect that they're coming and deal with them in that fashion. If you don't, you're gonna be at a significant disadvantage.
Indeed.
Just watching these guys RTB. Everybody's disconnected with the exception of Scorpion coming from the 59th side.
And another decent week in the books for us. This was a decent match today.
It was a shorter day.
Yeah, indeed.
Wasn't too long, which I'm happy about. It's
Yeah,
nice to have a short one every once in a while.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get. I can eat lunch. I've been eating late lunches on Saturday, so it'd be nice to get a normal lunch today.
Yeah, I agree there.
What's on the menu for you today, Moltar?
I have no idea.
I'm in the same boat.
I have no idea what I want.
I'm feeling a sandwich right now. I don't really know what kind. Probably a big one. A nice, big, giant Saturday afternoon sandwich, if you will.
Is that what you call it these days?
Usually.
I think 59th shape was much better.
I think, we had commented how they needed to come out more organized heading into this round, and I think we definitely saw them do that. I think they had certainly more of a plan, so it seemed from our perspective, than they did in that first one. And they executed, I think, fairly well out the gate, and as the cookies started to crumble, it just didn't fall their way in more ways than one. And I think 104th did do a better job of kind of forcing 59th to play the game on their terms as opposed to what 59th was trying. And that's a difficult thing to do, to try to get the other side to kind of submit to your will on that whole thing. So.
Like it did in round 1, I really think the teetering point there was that first kill, that first AIM-54 kill. I mean, it's hugely demoralizing. If that happens to you, it's really hard to come back from once that first kill happens. And unfortunately, it happened to 59th in both of them. I think both of them were AIM-54 kills. And 59th tried to come back with the ET kill on Stooge, but then they just weren't able to mount any strategic aggression against 104th. 104th was way more aggressive, and they pushed together in that sense.
Indeed.
Stu says, Moltar in shape. Remember what Bruce Lee said, be shapeless, formless. Yeah, maybe. If it works for you, by all means. Burpee, I think he's just dropping quotes.
I think we saw 59th, in comparison to the first match, which I believe they're one of the only teams in the Diamond League we've got to actually, in any of the leagues that we've got to watch twice so far, 104th and 59th. And at least from my perspective, I feel like we saw a significant improvement from 59th from that first match against the Ukrainian team, I believe. So it definitely looks like they're making improvements and strides in their game. And I think, for those who were around last season, it was one of the things we kind of try to look for as these matches in these weeks kind of unfold, is improvements from these teams. Because guys, new groups kind of form. We're not sure how many guys are around from last year and stuff. That stuff has to take time for chemistry to build and those things to kind of work themselves in. So one of the parts I enjoy about this the most is watching these teams kind of develop as time goes on.
Well, we saw a lot of development coming from the teams last year.
Correct.
Especially during formation flying, shape. I mean, really everything, all over the spectrum. Teams from all echelons, there was massive amounts of improvement. And I think 59th is really promoting that pretty well in having teams improve. And we're seeing that because teams want to be competitive. They want to enjoy the experience, and the best way to do that is to improve. So SATAL and everything is providing that benchmark, if you will, that teams are needing to meet. And we didn't have that before. We didn't have that benchmark that teams were needing to meet because there wasn't really an existence of competitive play. And while we're watching these teams RTB, let's look real quick at who is flying this week. So next week's match is coming not next week, tomorrow. Tomorrow's match is Pan Squadron versus 36 Stormo Verciale. And the second match of the day at 1700 Zoo is 718 LNG versus TAW, the Outer Warfare. So make sure you tune in for that one, guys. Billy and I will be back. 1400 Zulu and 1700 Zulu for that one, bright and early, or afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. It's always exciting because this is a worldwide competition. I never know where anybody's going to be. But make sure you tune in tomorrow. Gold match. Teams have a tendency to be much more aggressive. I have a tendency to yell, so you guys get to see excited more time. we lose the mustache-less 12-year-old from our cast. He goes and does his own thing. So,
I'll be there.
Make sure you tune in for that. And I think this is where we leave it. I think this is where we say adios and goodbye. But guys, it's been an awesome time. 104th, taking it 2 matches to none. I don't think there's going to be any issues with them RTBing today. They took it in a commanding fashion.
Pretty good right now.
5 pilots remaining in both rounds. Or sorry, maybe it was 6. No, it was 5 pilots remaining in both rounds.
Yep.
To nil in the others. Fueling isn't going to be a problem. So congratulations to 104th. Well fought by 59th. And guys, I will see you tomorrow, 1400 Zulu, bright and early. Can't wait. Gold League. Balls to the wall action once those guys the missiles start coming off the rails. There's no slowing down. So guys, have a good rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow, Saturday. Make sure you check the recap. Indian, check schedule or merge. Check those links. Or those commands, and you should be able to see everything going on. It's all on splash1gaming.com/the-merge, or /merge, excuse me, for all the standings and stuff. So tomorrow, make sure you follow us on YouTube, Twitch, on here, if you guys want instant updates. Jeff Jabbers and I are doing recap videos, so if you guys ever miss action or anything like that, we're releasing videos. Twitter's the best way to stay on top of that. So guys, until next time, I'll see you guys later, and hopefully we'll see a lot of you tomorrow.
I'll catch you next week, guys. See ya!